and welcome to our Top 100. I'm Wendy Yee.
Jason Levine, the Data Gaming Machine.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
So this is our top 90 through 81. Not the most coveted spot. That was yesterday, apparently. Oh, yeah. Quick announcement. We do have tickets for Dice Tower East. There's about 200 left, so we wanted to announce that. If you guys are interested in going, hop on that before we run out, because we are getting close to the dwindling little dregs left.
Come play games with us.
In Orlando, such a great city, too.
It is, yeah. Bring the family, do some other fun stuff, and enjoy Gaming Con. What a great idea.
Let's do it.
All right. Any thoughts? Anything that you guys have about this particular set of top 10?
I'm excited. I do wonder overall, just because like we all have such varied taste, I wonder how many crossovers we're going to have in general. I know there's some games that like me and Wendy really agree on, which is shocking because there's so many we don't.
They're usually
but then I know
story-driven
there's some games that me and Jason really agree on, but I feel like most of those are actually going to be higher in our lists. So it'll be interesting to see if we have any crossover today.
Yeah, I'm very
Probably.
curious. We'll see what happens. We didn't have any crossovers yesterday.
Not yet.
But we've only started. It has just begun. So let's go ahead and get started.
This is Preston live on the Pinball Mafia Twitch live stream. You're watching the Dice Tower Top 100, number 90.
All right, starting off with my number 90. This is Majesty for the Realm. This is one of those games that people talked about as, oh, it's a Splendor Killer game, and then it did like fizzled off and faded from the universe kind of thing. But I love it. So you're building up your little town, and you're choosing what cards you're going to invest in. So it's that kind of like river system of cards that you can pay for cards that are closer to the deck. But what's really cool is that you can focus in on different ways to build your engine. You can have an engine that basically is attacking and removing cards from other people's engines. You can build defense so people can't do that to you, while at the same time you're trying to build your own little point system. So some cards benefit from having lots of their own, or from having sets of other cards in your tableau. So you're just building this whole thing. There's a ton of different ways to get points, and you're just trying to be the best at doing that. So it's a fun game.
I really, really liked this game when it came out. Yeah, you're right. It should have got more buzz than it did. But I have some news here. Studio H is re-releasing it, but instead of with cards, they now have tiles, and the tiles line up, and you connect the tiles like a puzzle on top of your board. And it's supposed to come out at Essen, the new version of it. So for those who didn't get it, you'll be able to get it again because it's coming back to print.
Is it going to still be called Majesty for the Realm?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Or no, it's called
Majesty for the Realm.
No, it was
Tile
called
Edition.
It's called Middle Ages. Yes, Middle Ages is not.
Middle Ages.
It's called Middle Ages. Yes.
Is it still going to have the pretty coloring? Because I really like
It does.
the pretty
It's got a
colors.
white. It had a white cover, white with kind of medieval art on the cover. It's going to be very good. It's a new version of a really good game. So yeah, this is definitely worthy of being in the top 100.
Wow, I didn't even know that was happening. Otherwise, it'd be on my top anticipated for the year. That's exciting. I really enjoy this game.
And you said that it has like wrecking each other a little bit in it?
Just
like
a
you can
little
wreck
bit,
each
yeah.
other's
So there's
rounds?
certain cards that when you trigger those, they kind of build as you grow more cards, and so you can start attacking other people and stealing their lower point cards.
Yeah, it's a really good game. My number 90 is an older game. I see someone else who's in our chat right now, Kabuki Kid, who's a fan of this game. And I'm not a big dungeon crawl fan, but this is probably one of my favorite dungeon crawls of all time, and it's Aliens by Leading Edge. It is one of the first dungeon crawl games that ever came out, and the theme is so good. Yes, the pieces aren't very good.
I was like, it looks like a spotter game. With standees.
This was what games were like in the 80s. So the neat thing about it is you're all the characters, and the aliens are just coming out. And they're coming out randomly, and you need to use your flamethrowers, you need to use everything else, and you need to kill these aliens and get out of the reactor room. Then you have to get to the egg room, and it's a whole campaign. And by the time you get to the end, you're Ripley, and you're in the big, giant yellow robot thing, and you're trying to kill the queen. And it is a really, really good thematic dungeon crawling game. I really like this one.
That's crazy.
Wait, so
I've
it's
never
actually
seen
based on
this.
Alien?
Yeah, based on Aliens, the second movie.
Can you tell by the graphics? The IP
I've only
was
seen the
all
first
over
one.
that.
The IP was all over it. Like you had Bill Paxton and like everyone's in it. Everyone who's in the movie was in. They have all the artwork. Like
wait, is the second movie
Sigourney
called Now It's Time for War or It's Time for War?
The second movie is just called Aliens.
So it's Aliens.
Yes, Alien was a horror movie. Well, Aliens was kind of more of a war fighting the aliens movie.
Interesting. Cool.
Where's the political intrigue Alien movie?
Alien,
Where you have to,
Alien
like-
10, Politics Over War,
There you go.
coming out next in 3 years.
Yes.
All right, my number 90 is also a dungeon crawl, but it's actually a fantasy
Is it in
themed
space?
dungeon crawl. Not in space.
It's not fantasy
This
in
is
space?
actually probably
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is like my highest like fantasyist dungeon crawl, but this is Massive Darkness 2. I really enjoy Massive Darkness 2, specifically the second version, because the first one was very meh when I played it, but when they made the second version of this, they redid a ton of stuff, also making all the different players asymmetrical. You all have like your own little mini games that kind of help you power up your character in different ways. You can be like a spellcaster where you have all these spells that you're kind of like going around a little rondel trying to like power up your spells, or just different characters that have different things that have different ways, like you're pulling stuff from bags or doing different things to kind of power up your characters. And the whole time you're still fighting all these monsters, trying to get different places in the dungeon, getting chests and upgrading your character. And it's just really fun. I think it was kind of crazy how they changed the game so much with this Massive Darkness 2, but didn't even like make it like Massive Darkness 2nd edition. You know, this was basically just marketed as an expansion, and I think it kind of like fell by the wayside. But I know there's so many people that have talked about how amazing this game is and how much fun it is. It's one of my favorite dungeon crawling type games.
Wait, so there's Massive Darkness, there's Massive Darkness 2, and then there's Massive Darkness
That's what this is. This is Magnus Darkness 2.
point something?
There
Massive
should
Darkness
be
Hellscape.
This
Massive
is
Darkness-
just 2.
This is just Massive Darkness 2
Just 2.
Hellscape.
There's no 2 point something. Okay.
Yeah, this is just like basically branded as an expansion, but it changes
But
the
it
game up.
updated it
Yeah.
a bunch. That's
a
cool.
lot. I mean, and they basically had like an update kit for all the old characters and things like that, so you can bring all those in the game, bring all the old monsters into the game. They overhauled the game a lot and changed it from being a game that not a lot of people talked about to a game that's like a lot of people's favorite dungeon crawl at this point.
Massive Popular Darkness.
Yeah, so Massive Darkness, fighting all the monsters.
Well, folks, that's number 89.
Is he planting them?
It's a lot of
Did
berry
he
berries.
murder them?
Was he farming them? I'm hungry
I
now
have
for
all
strawberries.
the
Berries, strawberry.
questions.
Everybody knows, just like potatoes, strawberries and blueberries are all underground,
Like peanuts?
like peanuts.
Like peanuts,
There you
which
go.
are not an actual nut, right? Okay, my number 89 is Tapestry. Now, this is one I've had on my list for a few years now. It was 90, then it went to 59, and now it's back up to 89. So it's done a little bit of the roller coaster ride on my top 100 list. Tapestry is basically a Euro 4X game, right, Roy?
Sure.
Have you played
agree.
this?
I don't know where. It doesn't feel. I guess
doesn't
it
feel
is.
4X.
You're
I guess it is
exploring.
city.
You're expanding.
Are you
you're-
exploring? How are
But
you
you don't
exploring?
need to explore. The
do
thing
you
about the
explore?
game is you
That's
don't
You
need
flip
to
over the
explore.
space tiles.
Yeah.
You're
But-
exploring. You're expanding. You're
You don't build up armies.
excavating.
How are you exterminating? There's no
you're
combat.
technology Xing.
It is a
Yes.
Civ-themed game, which it feels like that. But
Yeah.
4X is a different thing. That's
Okay,
cool.
well, in Tapestry, I just really love those tracks on the outside. So you're moving up tracks, and as you move up tracks, you get better and better and better actions. And you can't focus on everything, so you have to pick a couple to just really dig in on so that you can get the best out of. But at the same time, you're building up these little Civ boards, and you're building up these really cool income engines, and there's just so much build in this game. And that's what I really enjoy. I especially love the tech track. Like that, when you get the little technology cards that just kind of build on top of each other, that's my favorite strategy because it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more awesome.
It's such a good game. For me, every time I play it though, I have that weirdness of how you could be done with your game an hour before I'm done with my game.
Yeah,
it
that
still
is crazy.
gets to me, that whole the way people end at different times based on how you're doing stuff. I can't
Yeah.
wrap my mind around
I remember
it.
the retreat that this game came out or whatever, and there would be people walking around, like talking to people in the other games, like, "Oh, hey, you want to jump in this game? Oh, no, I'm technically in a game of Tapestry over there. I'm done. I might win. I'm not sure, but
Just have to
they're
wait
still
and
going
see.
over there. I have to wait and see if they can like pass me in points. But I was doing pretty good when I ended.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, that's wild. I played this during one of our marathons forever ago, and
Did you like it?
I didn't dislike it at all.
Okay.
So I'd be interested in trying it again. I do remember that all the crazy balance stuff with like negative 92 points, like our thing from last time.
Oh my goodness.
480.
But
Well, and there have been so many redone civilizations
and the fact
in
that
this
they
thing.
added like fantasy style stuff in here,
Yeah.
I'd be kind of interested in trying that out.
I've not played all the expansions. Like I've only played a couple things.
Cool.
But there's a lot of material if you really like it and you want to keep digging into it. There's so much to do.
Yes, the new one just
Syntrax.
came out this year, the new expansion.
Yep. So it's my 89 Tapestry.
So my 89 is an engine builder. I like engine builders.
Yep.
Yes. I think that's something all three of us can agree on.
Yes, and this is an old school engine builder. Probably, I think it came out in 91?
Oh, wow.
1991. It's Outpost.
Oh.
That's just the newer art for it. But the original came out a long, long time ago when I was in college. And this game, you start out with planets or moons, and each moon equates to a deck, and each deck is going to be stacked. Like the first deck is 1 through 4, then the next deck is 3 through 7, et cetera, et cetera. And you're using your points to buy bigger ones to be able to get better cards, to be able to buy bigger things, also to be able to get resources to score points from the resources. It's got a really neat engine builder mechanic, and it's a great little game that came back in print, as you can see, 20th anniversary there for the Stronghold edition.
wow.
And hopefully there's a 30th anniversary edition or 30-something anniversary at this point, should hopefully come out again.
Okay, so is
crazy.
this an engine builder where it like ramps up really quickly? Or does it like take its time and by the time you feel like you're finally getting somewhere, the game ends?
It ramps up. It ramps up in a good manner. You start slowly. You're getting little cards, then you build more things, and you're getting better cards, and you build a few more things, and you're getting better cards, and then you start to get the big things. And then as you get the big things, 2 or 3 big things should end the game.
And then it ends.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it has a good play length, which is also great about it.
Nice. Well, I'd be interested in trying it because I like engine building and I like space, and it looks pretty cool. So
It's
I
spacey.
haven't seen it. Cool. So my 89 is from one of my favorite designers, and I'm sure Jason has hawked this game to a ton of people at conventions, and this is Foundations of Rome. This is a gigantic big box game, and some people are going to be like, this is too low. But I enjoy the city building aspect of this, and you're basically trying to get those plots of land and get them in the right shape so you can build your awesome buildings, and putting the correct buildings together to be able to score the most points popular, building up kind of like your population and things like that to help score lots and lots of points. This game is awesome, and it just is like blinged to the nth degree or whatever, and it just looks really cool on the table once it's all done and set up. Yeah, it was crazy. Like they're like, oh, this can't be done. How could a game? Because I played this game with Emerson when it was a prototype of pieces of paper, and when I saw what it was actually going to be like, I'm like, holy smokes, that's crazy! And I'm just stoked about how well this has done for Arcane Wonders and for Emerson, just because like it's one of those games of like, do you want to play a game that's really easy to get into, really simple to play, but looks like amazing, you know? And I think there's a place in this hobby for that sort of thing. Some people would be like, oh, it's too over the top, but I still really enjoy it, and I think it's really good.
So I love this game. Obviously, it's a Dice Tower essential. And
for sure.
I remember when Arcane Wonders came to us, we were doing a breakfast at Dice Tower, one of the Dice Tower East, and they came in with this giant 9x9 box.
Yeah.
And they said, "This is what the game's going to be," and we're like.
They're like, how big is a Calyx cube space? We're taking the whole thing. The whole thing.
And Tom at the time was like, I just did a video about ridiculous box sizes and ridiculous box shapes. What is this?
That's not even ridiculous now.
It's not.
like
And it's
acceptable.
done
But at the time,
so well. And
at
that's
the
the cool
time
thing
it
about
seemed it. But it's such a good game. Emerson did a great job with this, and there may be a crossover at some point.
I bet there will be.
I bet there will be.
I think the
Yeah.
thing is talking to people at our conventions is that they talk about this is one of their most played games at home because it's literally just pull it out, pull the lid off, give a tray, and go. Like
Well, I
there's
mean, most
not a
of the
lot
time,
of setup.
people have to have they are like, oh, I have these really heavy games that have these gigantic sprawling like things and look really cool. But you can't show those to most people, you know? Most
Right.
new
Yeah.
gamers aren't going to be able to get into something that's like big and gigantic and epic like this. This has that epic look, but it's super easy to play.
So there's
yeah.
two neat notes about this. One is
They're making an affordable version.
they're making an affordable version.
Yep.
Foundations of Metropolis, which I think is going to come out at Gen Con or Essen. It's going to come out this year.
Super soon.
So if you don't want the $200 big box, you can get the like $50 regular size, like Ticket to Ride size box. Also, the expansion just came out like a week ago.
Yeah.
I just played it at the Gathering last week, and it's great. It's got these little extra things you put on the edge of the board, and you're trying to do not just worry about getting the things together,
trying to
but
do
you
stuff
want
on the sides?
you want edge board, like how you do things on the edge of the
I was
board.
wondering
You
if it was
trigger.
different. We played that forever ago, I guess back when they had the campaign for it. But yeah, I played with the expansion before. That's pretty fun.
Yes, it is.
I think our Dice Tower copy in the library, we just got a new one, and I think the expansion's all included in it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's pretty cool. All right.
Yep. Hey.
Hey, look what just showed up on the table.
I'm not playing another board game today.
But it's the Dice Tower Top 100. It's number 88.
Number 88 for me is Istanbul, the dice game. And I mentioned that Chris and I have done some of these pile of game reviews where we take a whole bunch of games from the same series. And this is our most recent one, actually, was the Istanbul series. And I have to say that second to Istanbul, spoilers, the dice game is my second version, like favorite version of it. There's something that's so clean about just rolling dice and picking something and going with it. But at the same time, you get to keep stuff. That's one thing about dice games. A lot of times you roll, and then if you can't do anything, you just kind of like do something minor and then you move on. But in this, you get to keep things. So whatever your roll is, maybe you get some gems you can use for rerolls later, or you can start collecting goods. So you can start working towards those bigger things so that you can start working towards the red gems, the engine building stuff. And so I just really like that for a simple, nice little dice game, it gives me a lot of those Istanbul feels, and I don't feel like I'm stuck after every single round going, oh, I just didn't roll well enough. I just didn't roll well enough. So that's something that I appreciate about this.
Yeah, I enjoy this one a lot as well. I enjoyed Istanbul, the regular game, and this is one of the better dice implementations of a game.
Yeah, it really is. Like I think that it's done really well to give you that original feel of collecting goods and getting gems. Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. That's my number 88.
So my number 88 is kind of a cutthroat game.
Yes.
I'm out. Bye.
I don't know if either one of you have played it. I think Roy might have played it. Maybe. I don't know if you've played it. It's called Lifeboats.
Oh, I want to play this one.
So
But I know this
terrible.
is super cutthroat.
So this is
That should not be a cutthroat real life thing.
So the concept of this game is you're all on boats, and as you can see, there's boats, and each
And you're
person's a
shoving
color.
people off.
And so basically each turn you need to first get off your boat, then you need to jump into a different boat, and then you need to then you vote which boat gets a leak. So boats are getting leaks, and you need to get to the other side. Then you vote which boat goes forward a space, and then you vote if there's too many leaks or too many people. You vote who you want to throw off the boat. So you're basically trying to paddle your way without leaking and get onto the boats to get across to the island before you get thrown in the ocean. It is really great with the voting. There's a special card where you could say, I negate the vote and I get the power to do whatever I want, and it's really, really a neat game. I consider it a party game, even though it's
I was like,
super
it
cutthroat.
sounds like just like this negotiation party game where you're like, no,
Get
keep
thrown
me.
overboard.
Don't kill me. Do
is
you
one I
have
think would be
powers
fun
or
to
anything
play.
that you can give to people
No,
to convince them to let you stay on the boat and not have your boat leaked?
All negotiation. You're like, but if you have enough guys on the
Stressful.
boat, you have the power, because if I have my big guy and my small guy, that's 3 votes. If you have a small guy, that's 1 vote. But if Roy has 2 small guys, now you guys have 3 votes combined, and you could vote together.
Nice.
And whoever's the start player of the round gets the final decision. So you guys could just throw me over if you want.
And we will. No.
We will.
Unless we're throwing Wendy over, and then that's good.
No, I'm staying. I'll
I
swim.
voted for both of you. Wow. My 88 is another Dice Tower Essentials game, or was. This
Way to
is
chill.
one of the first. Well, I have some that are even higher. What's going on? But this one I really enjoy, and this was, I think, the first Dice Tower Essentials game. This is Sheriff of Nottingham. I love Sheriff of Nottingham, and I just recently taught this game to Ruthie on the cruise, and I was like, I want to bring Sheriff of Nottingham out just because it's one of those games. it's just like a classic of like the bluffing in it and trying to get the stuff into your bag, and you can play it up and ham it up however you want. Like, oh, I have 2 chickens, trust me, that sort of thing. And sometimes you can fake like you have contraband in there, and sometimes you can just straight up put a ton of contraband in there and figure out ways to sneak it in there. And if you have games, I've won this game by being completely truthful. And I've played this game where I've lost the game because I didn't lie nearly enough, and some people were running away with it, sneaking in so much contraband. And it's just such a fun game, and the fact that you can go back and forth and like be like, okay, well, I'll give you money if you don't open it, and sometimes I'll be like, well, I'm going to open it anyway, and then you trick them because you didn't actually have contraband in there, and then sometimes you I don't know, you can play it all sorts of different crazy ways and see how the game plays. And it kind of makes its own meta as the game goes along. It's like, oh, you lied last time. You're like, I know, please don't do it again. That sort of thing. But yeah, it's so much fun. I really enjoy Sheriff of Nottingham.
It's a game that I'm really proud of. Yeah. I remember when we had Robin Hood, this was years ago, when we were at 2 offices ago, and we had Robin Hood, and Tom's like, I really want to remake this game, and that was when we had signed the Dice Tower Essentials deal.
That's so awesome.
About half a year later, before it was printed, we had met Will Wheaton in LA, and we played it with him, and he decided to put it on tabletop.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
huge,
buzz
right?
just went and went, and this was such a good game for us and a great hit, and it was really nice to be part of something so special.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those games where like that snap is just so satisfying, because like once the snap's done, there's no going back,
Yes.
So,
This is one of those games too that I feel like a lot of people know, even if they're not hobby gamers. Like it's not fully mass market, but it's reached some of the mass market crowd.
yeah, for sure. Awesome. My number 88, Sheriff of Nottingham.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hip hip hurrah, tally ho.
I'm Nayar
And I'm Kavora.
of the Star Pod Trek podcast. Get ready for game number 87.
Engage.
Tally ho! My number 87 is, let me double check it because I think I looked at the wrong one. Okay, no, I'm good. It's Woodcraft. This was 38 last year. It's moved up to 87. I haven't played it as much as I want to. This is such a cute looking heavy game, and I feel like that's one complaint I hear from Tom a lot, is that you've got these Euro games that just look ugly, but this one just looks so cute. And you're these elves, or I don't know what you are. You're these tiny little people that trade blueberries, but you're making fun stuff out of wood. And I really love when games use dice without just rolling them. So the dice you pip up and you buy, and they're basically the type of wood that you have, and you're trying to fulfill these contracts by mixing different types of woods and putting stuff together, and I just really enjoy it. Plus the action selection, that like wheel in the middle is not a rondelle. It's also not a ratchet. I know we had some clarifications yesterday about rondelles and ratchets. I don't know what you would call it, but basically you have sections, and when you take an action, it moves to the next section, and as stuff moves to that following section, it actually makes things more ideal to take. Like the older actions get bonuses, they get cool things. And at the same time, you can't move too far forward. You get stopped because there's like a little stop thing. And so enough actions have to be used so that it continues moving around. It's just a really cool action system. Feels unique, but at the same time, it's like a nice, really tight Euro game. It's pretty heavy.
Yes, it's a great Euro game. I love it's the same system in Glass Road and other games, and I love that you have to use the actions and then it triggers the other side of the chart kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. Like the popular actions get less incentivized or the least popular actions get more incentivized, which is really cool. Yeah. So that's my 87.
So my 87, I'm sorry to our intro people, it's not a Star Trek game. I wish it was now.
That would fit.
But it's an interesting stock game.
I like stocks.
It's one that came out a while ago, but it was just reprinted recently.
Oh.
And it's called Haben Gut, or The Rich and the Good, as you can see there, which is the new Ares version that just came out at, I think it was at Gen Con. It came out a few months ago. And this one is a great stock market game where you have limited information. So me and Wendy have some of the plus and minus stocks that we could see, and then me and Roy would have some that we could see, and then Roy and Wendy would have some that they could see. So you have limited information, and you decide where you want to play from either side to put these stocks up, put these stocks down. When do you want to buy the stocks? When they're high, when they're low, and
So you're trying to read what other players are doing to see what
Do
they
you
know.
buy low and sell high in this one?
if you can, it's always a good strategy. That's what every
the
stock
hope.
market's about. But the interesting thing is you have to donate some stuff. And if you're the person who donated the least, you lose the game regardless how much money you made.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's some cool mechanics that kind of force you to have to throw out stuff. But very good if you're looking
Do
for...
you manipulate the stocks, or do they just manipulate and you happen to know some of the information?
Well, the cards you play manipulate. So
gotcha.
if we have a +6 white, you want to buy white knowing that eventually you're going to play the +6 white. On the other hand, if there's a -3 blue, you might wait until someone buys blue and then drop the -3 blue on them. But only me and you would know that. Roy wouldn't know we had the -3 blue.
How dare you? That's insider trading.
It's partial insider trading, and that's what the game's about.
The cheat in the stock market. Okay, that sounds interesting. I would be down to try that.
There you go. My number 87 is a game about planning a trip. Planning a trip to Japan. So it is Let's Go to Japan. This is a super new game, but I just really enjoyed the way this game comes together. It gives me kind of a little bit of a Seven Wonders-ish drafting vibe, but it's all about building out a week's trip to Japan. And certain days of the week you're going to want to go to different things, whether it be viewing the sakura trees or having a shopping day, or some days it's just like I want to relax and save money. You know, it's like we did all the crazy stuff the other days. Now we're going to relax. Oh, we want to go visit the shrines. Oh, we want to go be social. You know, there's all that stuff, and you're kind of building it up. And even though this game is really just about collecting specific icons and pushing your different things up tracks, I still really enjoy it just because the theme is so cool. And this is one of those games where sometimes I'll be like, gachapon machines, I can't pass the gachapon machines. I want to go visit those, or I want to go to the anime store, you know, that sort of thing. Picking out those things is pretty fun, and I just love the theme of this, of like planning your whole trip. And the game is just charming overall. And it's just a drafting game back and forth where the cards you don't draft, the other player gets an opportunity to play. And I just really enjoy the game overall. I think it's a lot of fun. I think this will be a pretty big game this year with a lot of different people
I
trying
think
it
it will. I think it will. It's got a pretty good, smooth, lighter engine to it, but some good decisions. And like you said, like just making those choices of, do I want to make my own sushi or do I want to go out for dinner? Like,
And I get even more
how do
points
I
if
make
I
those
just
choices?
go eat sushi. The funny thing is, like, the further you push up a track, the more points you get. So if you get something way up a track, you could just be like, I'm going to Japan and I'm going to eat sushi.
Meaning
Like,
all the food, but then it costs a lot of money, so then
Right.
you
It
get like the
does.
negative money stuff
right,
going on. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's an interesting balance of the whole game.
It's a cute game. I only played it once.
I played it once too, and I liked it. The thing that I found difficult is at some point you're kind of stuck and you're forced to play
Yeah.
bad cards in bad areas because you only can play 3 in each area and you want to match the symbols. And you're like, well, I got past this. What do I do now? I guess I'll just slap it down here.
And sometimes you want to combo something further ahead. It's like, well, this doesn't necessarily match the day to give me a bonus for the icons that I need for that day, but it really combos together and will allow me to unlock the ability on the bottom of this card over here. So figuring out that puzzle of how to put the cards in the order and leaving yourself, and the whole balance of like going between Tokyo and Kyoto and having enough tickets for all of that. It's just like, for how much the game is just like icons and comboing stuff together, like how thematic it actually is at the same time is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does have a lot of thematic tie-in to it.
Yeah. So Let's Go to Japan, my number 87.
Let's go.
Hey, coming to you from Indianapolis, somewhere near the Dice Tower North Annex. This is number 86.
My number 86 is a game I actually played with Roy. It takes place in space. And it's a Euro game. It's a worker placement game. And this is Apiary.
Oh,
You liked this one, right?
I enjoyed Apiary. It was
That's
awesome.
a good one. So in this, you are bees up in space, and you're building basically a hive tableau in front of you of all these different little honeycomb-like things. But what I really enjoy about it is the way that the dice workers work. They're basically dice. They're like four-sided bees that you turn over as they level up, and then eventually I think they die, and then you get new ones. But
They go into
really,
retirement.
yeah, I really like that. It reminds me of Teotihuacan as you are ascending your dice. I enjoy, once again, dice that you don't just roll, but instead they have like a purpose to use the pips and to level them up. But also building that tableau in front of you. I'm such a sucker for like piecing things together and trying to get stuff to fit right. And in this, you have those choices of, do I want to get a lot of resource storage that's going to give me really cool income? And, do I want to build up that way? Or do I want to get these one-time bonus tiles that are just so OP feeling, like they're so great, you get something massive now? Or do I want to work for something that's like more engine buildy long-term, that's great? Like, there's just so many good choices and so many different things that you can invest in. And so I think this game is a ton of fun. And the theme is kind of cool.
I really like how there's tons of different like B abilities that you have. You can like mix up the game in a bunch of different ways, and also a fact of like it's worker placement, B placement, but you also you can push those Bs off, and then players have decisions on what happens when their characters get pushed off.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a super interesting game. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to Chris over there, because we played it on our Tuesday night Let's Play It Live. And Chris was an amazing teach with this game, and I really enjoyed it. And Connie had said that she was inspired by Teotihuacan when she designed this.
That's awesome.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, it's a great first entry for a designer to have a game that's so solid.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, definitely good. Bees in space.
Bees in
Bees in space. So mine's not Bees in space. My next one, where I'm going to take you back to the postal delivery system in Germany.
Is it cheese in space? Is it government cheese in space?
We are getting back to the government cheese topic. No, this one is about postal routes and delivering across the country of Germany. It's called Taxis. I don't know if you guys have played this one. It's a route building game, and you're collecting cards, and on every turn you must draw one card, play one card, and then do a secondary action, whether it's draw a card, play a card, or flush the cards, or upgrade. And when you do all that, at some point you want to make a route, and you're connecting the route, and you always must build to one end or the other. So if I'm in one city and the next city, I'd have to build on the city on either side. And eventually you need to stop before you bust, because if you don't have a card to play, you're out. So you need to pull up, and if you pull up with at least 3 or 4 or 5, when you get the higher numbers, like a 7 route, you'll get higher points for doing a 7 route. You get special points, but you also then could mark off the cities to do area control as well. And the first people to area control different cities also score points. So it's got all these cool card selection mechanisms, area control mechanisms, all this stuff built into one game.
I bet I'd like it. Cubes on a board, route building. Sounds like fun.
I think you'd like it a lot.
Yeah.
Postal Service.
In space.
My 86 is a cooperative game, and this is Flashpoint Fire Rescue. This game is just solid. I mean, you just run around, it's fireman, like real world theme, but you're going around trying to save people out of a burning building. It's a super simple game, and it's very family weight, but I just really enjoy the way the game comes together. I played it with my kids, I played it with Ruthie. It's just been so much fun just playing with your different powers on your different characters. It gives you kind of like a little bit of a pandemic vibe, but you get to run around, and they have expansions that have all sorts of different maps and all sorts of different character abilities and things like that. I know they're coming out with a legacy version of this as well. That's crazy.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to see. I had to say it before Jason was like name dropping something. But anyway,
There's a legacy version that I might have peeked at last week.
Dang it. He just got back from the gathering. He has all the knowledge.
I do have a lot of knowledge because there's a lot of people there.
He's an industry insider, people. But yeah, I really enjoy this game and just the cooperation in it. And it's just such an approachable and like easy to get into game that Flashpoint Fire Rescue is a lot of fun.
This is one that I wanted to play early on in my board gaming career, and I just never got to it. And I was actually thinking about this just a couple weeks ago, because there's the Flashpoint North Sea, like GMT game or whatever, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So every time I look at that, I'm like, oh, that's not that's not the co-op one. You know what I mean? Like I keep getting those confused. But But this is one that I was genuinely thinking. I was like, is it worth it trying this at this point
This
in
is
gaming, or is this one
I
that
think
would
this
have
is
only
one
meant
you could
more
easily
later?
play with Zatanna and stuff like that, and like you're running. I mean, it's got a really good theme because you're actually firemen running in, trying to save people out of the fire. It's like, oh, try to save this person, try to save that person.
Yes.
Sometimes it's like, oh, there might be a person over there. Oh, there's not a person. You got to save a certain amount of people. It's like, oh, there's a little kitty cat. You know, we'll just leave that there, and then we can go save all the different stuff. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
And the fires are just
But
breaking
I'm sure
out
Zatanna would have a lot
everywhere.
of fun with it.
Yeah, fires are breaking out everywhere. The cool thing is some of the expansions, like one of the maps is a skyscraper, so it's like the Towering Inferno scenario. And,
Oh yeah, there's
my
all
goodness.
sorts of
And
stuff.
you bring your fire truck around and you're trying to spray water from the fire truck on the building, and there's so much good content. There's a submarine one that there's a explosion
your
in the
subs
submarine.
on
many different
fire?
ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
your subs on
It's
fire.
in water.
I know.
Yeah, right? Just open the door. So Chris said.
Just open
Yeah.
the door.
I mean, that
Solve
put the
that
fire
problem.
out. It also put the life out.
True.
But yeah, my number 86, Flashpoint Fire Rescue. I
Oh,
love it.
that made me so happy. I
Me
was
too.
for a
This-
second I was like, it's the wrong number. It's the wrong
This
number.
tripped me up so much because I edited this a little bit to put the little number in the corner. But I was like, oh, they did 58. Dang it. I didn't even watch the whole video. And then like I finished watching, I'm like, oh, never mind. I got it. Never mind. It's
We all
good.
good. We all good. That's great. Monopoly Legacy. I love it. Okay, my number 85 is Canvas. And this is such a light, nice game. I feel like it's mechanically so streamlined. You know, you've got that river of cards that you're collecting, and you're trying to just meet a bunch of different objectives, and you can't meet them all, so you want to do the best you can with what you got. And you make cool pictures in the end. Like, what an awesome way to really use that theme of making art, because you're putting different art things on top of each other, and the names, for some reason, somehow, like, combine with it. Like, it's so zen for me. Like, this is just a fun, zen art game that I feel like is just lovable. So very lovable.
Card
Yeah.
sleeving is such a cool mechanic, and this does it so well, and really brings out what you're doing in the art.
Yeah.
This is one that I really want to play more. It was a lot of fun the time that I got to play it. So it's a really good game.
It's good stuff. So that's my 85 is Canvas.
So my 85 is a game that I think we've all played. I think.
Maybe.
It's about sun, like Here Comes the Sun.
Da,
And
da, da, da. Du,
I knew
du,
someone
du,
would sing it.
du.
Exactly. It's photosynthesis.
Oh, this game's cutthroat.
Yeah, I don't like this game.
It's not cutthroat.
My trees are taller than your trees. You get no light.
Okay.
Survival of
yes.
the fittest, Darwin, okay?
Survival of the fittest. So you're basically building a forest, and you're trying to like get your trees to grow, and your seeds are going out, and you're building new trees. And where the sun is, you want to hope to catch the sun. And of course, you know, bigger trees might block out the smaller trees and kill them off, or
The
not let them
giant
grow.
Pac-Man
Because that's
sun.
not cutthroat at all.
But
Cut
it's
stump? I don't know. What
it's
is it?
it's a great game, and I love how you have to kind of build around to know the sun's coming here and then coming here, and I want to be at this point when the sun gets to this stage in order to get the right sun into the different areas.
You know, I didn't mind it. I just really didn't like the scoring. The fact that, like, you've got these discs and you just kind of get what you get.
Yeah,
And they've got they're like pieced into different chunks depending on what you score.
Oh, interesting.
I just found it to be not that interesting. I wanted more little ways to score.
Gotta grow the biggest trees.
Yeah.
Biggest trees are the best trees.
they are. The bigger the better, I guess.
There you go.
Tell that to the people in Texas.
My number 85 is another cooperative game, and I just mentioned Pandemic. This is a Pandemic game, but it's set in the Star Wars universe. So this is Star Wars Clone Wars, a Pandemic game. This is basically my catch-all for Pandemics in general, but this is my favorite one currently.
Oh, okay.
I love this game. This game is awesome, and the fact that you get to work together, messing up all the droids and trying to go up against the different Siths, and you have all sorts of different Star Wars characters you're playing as and being able to do it cooperatively. This game was super simple to learn. I mean, I know Pandemic very well, but like I went into this game cold, reading it from the rule book, and I was able to just teach it at the table very simply. I don't know, there's something about playing Pandemic, and then like normally you would just go into a space and just get rid of cubes for actions. I like rolling a dice and trying to kill off the cubes, which are droids in this game. And you have different cards that you can kind of power yourself up and defend against the attacks as they attack you back and things like that. I thought this game was like, it was way better than I expected it to be, and I think that might be a reason why I enjoyed it so much. But yeah, Star Wars Clone Wars is an awesome version of it.
Because it's in space.
It's in space.
Yes.
The card play in this is what I really enjoy. I like that you don't have to wait for your next turn to get more cards. And that's the thing with Pandemic is you're like, oh, okay, I'm looking for blues. I'm trying to get a whole set of blues. Oh, there's 2 more reds. Okay, wait till the whole another turn. I'm looking for 2 more blues. Oh, I get 2 yellows. Whereas this, you can keep drawing as your action. And so I think that I just really think that feels fresh and modern.
Yes, and anything with Star Wars just makes it better. And this is a great version of the game. I really enjoy this one as well. And I love how there's different villains that you could play against. So it's replayable. It's not just a single play style game.
Pandemic with lightsabers. How could you go wrong? You know?
Ching, ching,
Exactly.
Hey, Cardboard RJ here from Board Game Casual. And next up is not just another flash in the pan, it's number 84.
My number 84 is on my list because Chris has made me play it so many times.
The Crew? Oh, sorry.
No, that it's finally just grown on me over the years. I finally accepted that I like it. No, I actually really enjoy it now. And that is Las Vegas Royale. So I originally played Las
Stockholm
Vegas, I think is what it was called. And then Las Vegas Royale added in some mini games, which I, once again, initially didn't love, and then they grew on me. They give you more of a gambling feel. And so in this game, you are basically playing these area majority games. You roll all your dice and you take everything of one number. So you can pick all your 1s and you have to put them in the 1 spot. You pick all your 6s, you have to put them in the 6 spot. But what's really clever with this, and what I think is fascinating, is that as you're doing that area control, if anybody ever matches the same quantity at the end of the round, all those dice just disappear. And so it's whoever's left over gets to win the money. They get to win the cool things. And then, the mini games just add a little bit more fun. You can do a few things on your turn to get points immediately, or I guess money, not points, but you get money immediately and just kind of gamble a little bit more. So I think that this is a lot of fun.
I played this with Chris once, so he hasn't worn me down yet.
It was on the cruise, wasn't it?
I think
when we
so.
came as fans?
I don't remember.
Years and years and years ago?
We played it at some point.
I
think it was when you guys were already here, though.
I played with Chris more than once. And
Did he wear you down?
I love this game.
He wore him down. He got him.
No, I loved this game before Chris. BC and AC,
That's
before Chris,
possible.
after Chris. There's another game, and Chris, you're going to have to look it up. It's a set in Roman times, and I know there's a latrine in it and other things, and it's got the same mechanism where you're rolling dice and using the dice to go to different actions. And
I don't know how to Google
Ilea Iacta Est. So if you like Las Vegas, another one which has a Roman theme where you're doing different things, Ilea Iacta Est, you need to try and...
But I'm not from Rome. I'm from Las Vegas.
So
what about
that's
latrines?
it.
No, I liked this even when living in Las Vegas. It's not because it's a Las Vegas themed game that I like it. I like it because it's a good game.
Oh,
And it's Las Vegas. I
just
like
helps.
New York games and Miami games.
And Stockholm Syndrome.
And Stockholm Syndrome, definitely. So speaking of New York games, this game has New York in it. It was a very unique game at the time, and I think it has changed gaming a lot. And this game is called A Few Acres of Snow. So Martin Wallace designed a 2-player, I guess, let's call it a war game or a point-to-point game. But the interesting thing about this game is that it was the first deck building game of this type. So whether you're the British side or the American side, you are deck building, and each deck is unique, and as you take territories, you're getting different cards into your deck, and you want to make the best deck because you're drawing random cards, you're then playing the cards, and obviously there's other games like Dune Imperium, etc., that are now deck building war games, but this was the first of that type, and it's still a really great 2-player game.
Nice.
Are you competing?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
what's the historical
players,
theme
right?
behind
So
this?
the historical theme is it's the French and Indian War, and you're competing over the St. Lawrence River to take control of the territories.
I'll tell you what, if you ever have a chance to talk to a designer who does a historical game, it is fascinating their love for like the games that they're making.
Oh, I bet.
And the history. I mean, you're not going to make a game about history that you're not interested in. And so it's fascinating to hear them tell the stories of their past, of like what happened and why they built the game around it and how it fits in. It's so cool.
And how this
Yes.
card means this specific event from that specific thing, and how it
they
works.
do
That's
so
kinda
much
cool.
research.
And that's how this game is. Like, you had a Martin Wallace game. I have a Martin Wallace game also.
Hey.
Well, I have a Richard Garfield game, and it is not a collectible card game, but it is a card game. But it's not the one he's super well known for. But I think this game
It's
is
an
crazy
NCCG?
good. This is it started as a CCG, but got turned into an LCG, but now is out of print. This is Netrunner, so Android Netrunner. This game, I mean, I haven't played Netrunner in a little bit, but the design behind this game is amazing. And that's why it's on here. I just had so much fun. I've had so much fun playing Netrunner. The fact that one side is a corporation that has all the assets they're trying to push through, and the other side is a runner that's trying to get in and steal those assets. The fact that you have stuff in your deck that you don't want to be drawing out as the corporation, but when you do draw it out, you want to be able to have the stuff in place to protect it. And then being that runner, it just feels so thematic as you're going through all the different stuff. As the runner, you're building up all these different things to break through all their different like firewalls and all of that stuff.
They're
and trying
ice.
to build up your rig to kind of like make your character be able to do stuff. But you also have to have money to play all this stuff down. So you're like, I'm doing this to get money, I'm doing this to build this thing out, I'm doing this. And the whole time the corporation's like, okay, well, I'm putting this card down. It could be a trap. It could be like the actual asset you're going after. You can like go after their hand to try to find their assets. You can look at the top of their deck to try to find their assets. They can actually discard some of them. And it's like, oh, well, let me check your discard pile. But then there can also be traps. There's a little bit of bluffing in this game as well. I don't know, this game is a game that can be played extremely strategically, just the way that it all comes together. And knowing the game can give someone such a ridiculous advantage in it. But I honestly, if this was, I wish they would make a Netrunner like standalone box game instead of making an LCG. So it's like, this is the game, this is the way it works, it's done. That would be a blast.
So it's
to
like
play.
perfectly balanced kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's like perfectly balanced, but then you didn't have to like memorize the entire catalog of the LCG, because this is one of those where like I just couldn't keep up, you know. And it's even gone now, and it's like, well, now there's no reason to like get too much into it, because people that love it are gonna crush me in this game every time we play. But it'd be cool to have like a standalone game of this. That would be a blast.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy Netrunner. I just love the mechanics so much.
The asymmetry works really well, and really which side you're playing really changes how you play the game, and it's really neat in that regard.
Yeah, I did tournaments of this a little bit. We would play, and you'd play one side, then you play the other side, and then whatever score you had whatever score you had out of both those two games would determine how you
Interesting.
move forward in the tournament. But yeah, Netrunner was a blast.
That's cool.
Number 83.
My 83 is Ground Floor. This was 42, then it was 31, then it's up to 83. And honestly, this is another one of those that's just so high because I haven't played it in years. It has been so many years. But I love this. For one, how cool is it? I mean, look at the bottom right in that picture. You are actually building up a skyscraper of your business as you go. And each one of those levels will have some sort of an ability that you earn or a new action space you can do. Like there's so many cool, like it's a cool little engine building, plus visually, that's so cool that you're building up this like 3D looking just business building as you're growing your business. So in this game, you are trying to balance like your public presence while also producing goods, trying to sell those goods at a low enough price that you can undercut people, but also then enough that you can make enough money. So there's just some really cool economic stuff going on in this game, and some really fun just engine building and stuff that you can do as you're building up your business. So it's fun. It's one that I haven't played in quite a few years, and I really wish I could get back to. And I think if I did, I think it would jump back up to the low numbers of my score.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's from one of my favorite companies too. I love Spielworks.
This is the better reprint. There's a first edition that we have in the Dice Tower library that's like not as pretty.
I
This
know.
is much nicer looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my number 83, I'm getting back to Euro style games, and my number 83 came out almost 10 years ago now, I think. It's called Elysium. And in this game, you're kind of bidding for turn order to get different god cards, and you only play with some of the god cards in each game. There's like Zeus and Hera, Athena, Apollo, and each set of god cards has very different powers in the game. So you're playing with a few powers in each game, and you're kind of bidding for turn order to select from tableau the cards to then bring them into your personal board and then trigger them to score them. And it's a really, really neat style bidding, I guess, set collection card action conglomerate of a game.
We played this recently as a Catch-a-Palooza, and just that idea of, I want to use these cards for their cool abilities, but I also want to score them. So like some of the, you know what I mean? You have to decide like how long am I going to keep them out, otherwise I won't have a chance to score them later.
Gotcha.
That's a cool system.
Yes, I really, really enjoyed this one.
Nice. My 83 is a gigantic box game, or you can get the version that's a little bit easier to play.
Bigger than Foundations of Rome?
It's slightly different dimensions. It's about the same size. This is Gloomhaven.
Okay.
Gloomhaven is also gigantic.
It's smaller.
Yeah, but it's longer.
It's longer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the volume of the game compared to the volume
It's definitely
of the
heavier.
game. Gloomhaven is an awesome game, and it's another dungeon crawl game where you're going through, but this is campaign based, and the crazy thing about this one is it has awesome card action where you're trying to play out your cards, but you're not trying to run out of cards to get wrecked. And you have different characters with all sorts of different abilities. You can unlock more characters as the game goes along. I actually really enjoyed the Jaws of the Lion version of this a ton, mostly because the map book that comes in, it just
So
makes it
easy with
so
the setup,
much easier to
yeah.
set up. But I just kind of lumped both those games together. And you could lump Frosthaven in here as well, you know, but just that style of game is just really fun, and I like playing out the different cards. This is one game that I need to play even more of. I would love to like play it. It's just kind of like got a little bit. It's a little bit too crunchy to play with my more casual gamer friends.
Yeah.
But as I play more games with them, this might be one that we pull off the shelf and actually get through and start playing with all this stuff.
That card play where you have to pick the top of one card and the bottom of another card, and
So
the
awesome.
way that they lay them
And the
out is
initiative
so that you
matters a
can't
ton,
do a
you
whole
know?
bunch of the same
it's
stuff.
like,
yeah.
I'm going to do this thing, so this makes me run up. Oh, but you did an area attack that's now going to wreck me too. You know, those sort of things of
Yeah.
like timing your actions together. And not only knowing your actions, kind of knowing like the other player's actions so you can work together is really good.
Just the choice of, I got to play this card, so this card is my life points, and I'm getting rid of this card, and that whole choice of burning
Yeah.
your cards is...
Well, just in not overextending yourself, you know? So
Yes.
it's like you can't burn through your stuff too quick, or you're just going to be, you know, wrecked too quickly in the
Yeah.
game. You got to be able to make it all the way to the end of the scenario. But yeah, Gloomhaven, my number 83.
Good pick.
Ooh, necklace!
Number 82.
Who are you talking to?
Anyone.
That's adorable.
Have you played Pretty Pretty Princess? I played it with my niece years ago.
Oh, have you?
It's a lot of fun, yes.
Oh, who are you talking to?
Anyway.
I played it with my niece when she was like 7 years old, 6 years old.
Oh, that's adorable. Okay, my number 82 is Ceres. This is a game that I just recently played, actually. It was on my most anticipated for last year, this year, whenever it came out. And just for some reason, it sat in the back, and I just never pulled it out and actually sat down and played it. It just looked like it was going to be a lot, and I don't know. I let Chris pick other games. That's my excuse. I blame it on you, Chris. I don't blame it on you. I love you. So in this game, you are going to the Ceres, which is a dwarf planet, I learned, and you are asteroid mining. But what really makes this fascinating is that there's two different types of workers. So you have like this tableau in front of you of cards that you have to pull from a shared pool of workers to use and activate those cards, and those are limited. And so if you're not paying too close attention to everyone else, I mean, you can kind of tell ahead because the cards are colored. But someone might pull those pieces, or they might build a card and then use that card before you planned to. And so that's fascinating how there's just that interesting interaction there. Well, at the same time, it's a worker placement game where you have all the worker placement spots on a board. And so there's a lot of different ways to get cards. You can build stuff in front of you. You can build like building kind of things, or you can go and actually mine asteroids, which are long-term income as well. So there's a lot going on. I think you would really enjoy this, Roy.
I am down with space games with rotating boards. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I am serious about it.
There's some good stuff. Did you play this yet?
I haven't. We got it at Essen, and I haven't played it. Now I want to. It sounds so good.
It's good, and it's not overly complicated. Like I wish that the board was a little more clear where the worker placement spots were. But once you figure it out, you can see it. It's just a lot of gray on gray. But the actual game is great. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah. So my number 82 is it's a racing game. But it's also got deck building, which I love deck building in the game. It's Lewis and Clark.
Oh, cool.
I don't know who's played this one in this group.
I've not played this.
Ooh, you'll really like it. So it's a deck building game, and you're using workers to go to different areas, and you can get cards. You start with Lewis or Clark, and then you get other cards, and you're meeting different people along the way, and you're collecting their cards. And when you have the cards, then you could use them in your deck to kind of move along the river, because you need to get to the end of the river first to win the game. So
interesting.
You're kind of stacking your deck to get the best cards to cross the water spots. Then you have to cross the mountain spots. So only mountain cards will let you cross the mountain spots, and you have to have the right mountain cards.
Are those colored discs the mountains?
Those colored discs are...
Those are just player discs.
They're resources. So the resources come out in different areas, and you work or place into the areas to get the resources, which you have to have on your ship as well. And then you could buy the cards.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
It's got a lot of things going for it.
Oh, cool.
It's one that hopefully you could catch a Palooza on it one day, because I think you would really enjoy this.
Oh,
Nice. Sounds like my jam.
So I've talked about a few big games. This is a micro game. Some would say the first game that started the micro game craze, and this is Love Letter. There are a ton of different versions of Love Letter out there, but I really enjoy a bunch of different ones. This is the original one, the OG one. And the funny thing is, like, I played this. I had a friend in our game group that used to work with AEG a ton, and he brought this back from like an event that they had, like before the game was even released. And this was also around Christmas time. And we had like a, I guess like Secret Santa or like Dirty Santa sort of thing where we could steal stuff. And everybody else was stealing the big games. But I had played this with him, and I was stealing Love Letter, because I'm like, I really want this game. A tiny little game, and nobody understood why I wanted the Love Letter game. But it was just so fun to play, and it ended up being like a gigantic success. And I love the Star Wars version of this one. I played a ton of different versions. I had the Adventure Time version of this. There's so many different cool versions of Love Letter. And it's just a simple game. I've gotten a lot of like my old game group, I brought them into like gaming through Love Letter. I remember sitting at work at Target and just playing games of Love Letter over and over again, even to the point where we played Love Letter with like the store manager. It was just fun, just playing a bunch of different Love Letter with a bunch of different people. We actually just introduced this, or reintroduced it to our daughter. We'd played it when she was younger, but I think it was just too much for her. But yeah, we played it recently, and she really enjoyed it. It's just so simple, and the tiny little bit of deduction of being like, oh, do you have that card? Oh, you don't have that one? Okay, what about this one? And just seeing how the gameplay plays. It just plays so well for just 18 cards. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Have you played the Murder Mystery version yet?
No.
It's really good also. I know you have the special version.
Oh yeah, I got the for mine and Ruthie's engagement. Jason actually gave us the wedding version of this one as well. So. Oh really? So I have the one where it's like looks like this, but the princess is in like an actual wedding dress. So.
Yeah, and it comes in a white. It comes in a white silk bag.
Little white bag.
It's like a super nice like little engagement gift from Jason. There.
They just came out with the Bridgerton version too, which actually thematically fits the show a little bit, which is fascinating. Cool. Yeah, how they did that. The way that they assign the characters.
My 82 Love Letter.
What do the Evil Dead, Scanners, and the Beyond have in common? They came out in 1981. Hey, do you remember that scene in the Beyond where the spiders ate that person's...
What did they eat?
Oh, I want to know. Okay, my number 81 has been on my list forever. This is Gingerbread House. It was 48, then 45, then 50. So it's kind of stayed very like middle of my list. Now it's 81. Still not too bad right there. But I think I taught this to you, Roy, actually.
Oh yeah,
Once
we
upon
did
a time.
play.
Yeah. So in Gingerbread House, it's a cute little theme of like you're trying to catch all these cute little woodland creatures so that you can eat them. So you're building your gingerbread house, right? And you can lock some away so that only you can eat them later, or only you can attract them later, or something like that. But it's this fun-filled Walker Harding game where you have this 3x3 grid in front of you and you're laying down little domino-style tiles. And you have to build up your little gingerbread house. And as you do so, you're collecting resources that let you then attract the woodland creatures. It's very cute, and I love being able to try to decide, do I want to complete rows? Because if I complete rows, I get bonuses. But also if I go high, I meet objectives. And you want to be able to, the scoring cards you progressively get throughout the game. So you want to complete things so that you can get those scoring cards so that you can focus in on them. Because if you start focusing in on a scoring card that you've not yet gotten, someone like Roy might steal it away from you.
I remember when we played this at the retreat, because I think we played with Ruthie as well or whatever, and we kept going on and on about how we were attracting the creatures so that the witches could eat them. And one of the other players was like, "You don't eat the creatures." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure you eat the creatures."
Pretty sure you eat the creatures. I just remember this was one of those games I sat down with Roy and he's looking at it and he's like, "You do this, this, and this, right?" And I was like, "You've played this before." And he's like, No, I haven't played it before.
It's a really neat game. I played this one with Z, and I absolutely adore it as well. So my number 81, I think for this I'm going to need a prop. So let me pull out this sucker.
Oh
Let me pull out this sucker for a second.
Is it a Dune game?
It's Dune.
Oh, the original Dune.
The original Dune.
I love it. Why is it at 81? Come on, man.
I don't know, because there's so many other games that I like.
Dune, you like this game more?
It's in my top 100. That says a lot about it. So this, if you like Cosmic Encounter, this is kind of Cosmic Encounter on steroids, I would say.
They're such different games, but yeah, I can see that. Same designers. Basically, you have each person is one of the 6 different powers: the Harkonnen, Atreides, etc., the Emperor, and you're using cards. You're taking territories on the map, and you're trying to control the different sieges during the game. It is a very solid game. Yes, it's a long-playing game. I know they've made streamlined versions since, but I absolutely love this game, and I think it's a wonderful game. I'm assuming you have good things as well. This is literally the version I played of it growing up with my dad. It has like paper cards and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's super like old school and awesome. We'd watch the movies and we'd play Dune. And we'd play 6-player games of it, like me and all my friends and like my dad and stuff. And just the backstabbing and betrayal and like alliances in this game. This is a game where it basically forces you to be in alliances, but then you can't break those alliances until other cards come up that allow you to break the alliances, and then they can shift. You know, so it's like, okay, we're in alliance together here. Oh, now it's time. Alliances can change. We're going to try to get together and win. And now the people that were just fighting against each other are now like, well, I guess we're going to ally and try to wreck you. You know, it's just these interesting moments in this game. It's very unique.
It's the one
I wish it would have made my list.
It's the one. It didn't. Maybe it did. Well, I have a feeling someone rated it higher.
If anybody's ever watched my top 100s again, this is normally pretty high.
So I have one story of this game. It's the only game I've ever won when I went to bed. So.
Oh, you went to bed and then you still won?
I was the Bene Gesserits. All my tokens ended up out of the game, so I went to bed, and then like 2 hours later, my friends woke me up and said, "Your prediction was right. You won the game."
What?
And I was like, it was like turn 12 Fremen. It was like some random thing, and I won the game after being knocked out of the game and going to bed.
This game is extremely asymmetrical, but the Bene Gesserit have a thing where at the beginning of the game, they can bet on one faction will win the game, and then also on which round of the game they will win. And if they're correct, they win the game by themselves without anyone else. So it kind of like shows how the Bene Gesserit try to influence things and pull strings behind the scenes. But they can still win the game in other ways as well. But that's one of the ways they can do it. So sometimes it's like the Bene Gesserit is allying with me and they're helping me a lot. But they really want me to make a push to win this turn.
Are you sure you don't just have a time machine?
I wonder why they're making such a push right now for me to win this turn. So, it's like, oh, they're trying to actually win by themselves, that sort of thing. But yeah, Dune is a great game.
That's interesting.
Well, going from a gigantic epic game like Dune, we're going to go back to some more dexterity, and this is Rhino Hero. Equally as epic. Well, maybe not. But Rhino Hero is one of those games that I've enjoyed playing so much. I played with my kids. I played the giant version. I like the super battle version as well. I've just put all those together. But also, like, I played this with my dad and brother where we used every single card in the game, so it just had this gigantic stack without it knocking over. And me and my game group just had so much fun playing Rhino Hero. And pulling out the giant version we have in the Dice Tower library is still one of my favorite things to do at one of our events.
Yeah.
It's just fun, just the excitement that this has of everybody holding their breath and trying to put their little card on. I played when Super Battle just came out. Haba was doing sponsorship stuff at Dice Tower East, and we played the new game, and it came out, and me and Mark Street had just a gigantic tower that we had built in this game. I just like this game when it goes really big and you just have this gigantic stack and everybody's just trying to do their best in the game. It's so much fun. I love Rhino Hero.
I would love to see this brought to like an architecture firm and be like, you all have to play this and see if you can make a like sound,
right, you have to get to this specific level or you all lose.
Or you all lose.
I have had games of this that don't do as well. It's when people don't, like, I honestly, in a weird way, like, I like playing it with games, people that take this dexterity game seriously and try not to knock it over, because it's fun to see how high it gets.
Yeah,
but, I love
it really
love playing Rhino Hero.
I love Rhino Hero. I remember, speaking of the giant copy we have.
Bucket, please.
Speaking of the giant copy we have. Speaking of the giant, now Roy's in love with the bucket. So speaking of the giant,
what's not the love?
The giant.
You can scoot it that way so they can still see it.
The giant rhino, the other way. The giant Rhino Hero that we have in the library. I remember we had to I had to get it from Japan for us, and it's such a great thing seeing it when people are climbing on ladders, and because they don't make that version in the United States because of, I guess, injury risk reasons. So it was cool to be able to get that from Japan to bring it back for people who come to our conventions, like Dice Tower East, which we have just under 200 tickets left for.
Yes.
Way to plug that, Jason.
Well,
So
we're wrapping up this
smooth.
episode.
We are wrapping it up.
We are.
So yeah, for sure. People, make sure to check out Dice Tower East. That is winding down as far as the number of tickets we have, and you can play all of those gigantic games. You can find enough players to play your 6-player Dune game.
I think Tom has gotten like 4 or 5 more giant dexterity games,
Oh,
maybe
yes.
more than that since last year
Spinball is
even.
awesome.
Spinball is
Spinball.
great.
We've got Fubi and some other ones. Anyways, there's been multiples that have come through the office, so it's going to be exciting.
But yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. This was numbers 90 through 81.
90
yes?
through 81. We have
Numbers
80
are
more to
confusing
go.
sometimes. All right, we are going to, we aren't going to be back tomorrow, but Camilla, Chris, and Joey will be back tomorrow with the beginnings of their top 100 as well. So stay tuned, and we'll see y'all later. In that.